Okay, everyone, welcome. Thank you so much for coming a little bit earlier, obviously, to this amazing production that you'll be seeing at 7:30. Obviously, we are incredibly privileged to be able to do a little Q&A before at this property, and we're just really, really happy that you've been able to make it. Thank you so much. Obviously, a little ad hoc, you know, we're up in the bar. We were thinking about maybe being in the space, but obviously there's sound checks and everything, because this obviously isn't the home of where this is. This is a concert version. We normally have Mean Girls here, so everything is, you know, all has to go fluidly and with flexibility. So once you've finished, you're allowed to go back out again and then come back in, you know, for the performance at 7:30. So my name's Mel. I work at Spotlight. This is such an exciting one. I'm very biased. I really do love musical theatre, so this is an utter privilege for me today. If we just go across and just obviously who we are and what we're doing in the production.
Sure, sounds good. My name is Adam. I'm the producer, but I'm also like the #1 fan of the show. I need to leave out my OG merch. I saw the show a lot, May. So I saw like the 5th preview, and Michael Grice, the original director, came out with like, I'm just supposed to say who I am now. But he was like with an iPad and very apologetic, saying like this is a new show, and this was the first night that the song "What If" was going into the show, which has now become the opening number. So from that moment, we were very excited, knowing that we were seeing something organic and fresh and changing and this and that. And as at then 30 and now 40 something. A story about just a professional and everyday person that is so relatable, who questions their fate and their choices. Was like, just spoke to me like so profoundly, and here we are.
Leave it. I am Kitt. I am the composer.
So a round of applause. I love it. Thank you so much, Drix. This is the first time you're seeing it as well, is it? That is which is, you know. So.
I've seen the show
Oh,
a couple times, but now my first time
there we go.
doing this. So.
But thank you so much for joining us, and I think most people know.
That trumps me. So I'm Kerry Ellis, and I'm playing Elizabeth, who also plays Liz and Beth, which all become clear very soon. This is our second time to do the show, which is quite unusual when you do a concert version. You normally only get one go. But we had the most magical time last Monday. We were really kind of privileged to do this piece and to be supported by an incredible audience, which I know you're going to be brilliant tonight. And we're just excited to do it again, to find new things and just to have another go at it. And it's a brilliant piece, and it's a wonderful cast, a wonderful company, and we've put so much into this production. So we're excited for you to see it.
Hi, I'm Jordan. I'm the Associate Director to Director Bill Buckhurst and Associate Choreographer to Alistair David, who is our choreographer. I think I'm the second biggest fan of the show. I also saw it in New York and he fell in love with it. And then Daniel's my agent. I was like, I begged Daniel, said, please get me on the show because I love it. It's been a privilege, a fantastic team, and everybody's been amazing. I hope you enjoy it. It's amazing.
I'm Daniel, I'm the other producer, and I look after Kerry. So the idea came with Adam and I when he shot a video for his theatre channel in lockdown, right? And it grew from that, and you're in.
This is amazing. Kerry, I know you might have to
Harry
button off
To do the sound check.
You might
I'll be sound checking in a minute.
But what drew you, like, this role? What can you kind of tell us about today? Like, what is it? What spoke to you? What was that part that you and her really want to give this role a go?
Well, I mean, finding roles that are right for you at that time are always interesting, and for something that was so specific that I could play now was kind of, you know, a gift, really. And we started workshopping it a couple of years ago. We had a little couple of days to just feel it out in a room, and that was really exciting. And just to get to play someone that's real has been something different to what I've done before. I've usually played, you know, these big kind of iconic characters that are larger than life or have a kind of historic story that we all know and love. So to play something that's real, that is perhaps new to people, has been really exciting. And again, just to listen to that audience last Monday react to a new show like this, the music, the score, the script, and people laugh and cry and be moved by something. It's a gift. It really is.
Because just tell us a little bit about how, because there's a video, is it during lockdown? There was a hell of an experience there as well. Just a little snippet.
I mean, I love
You did the, we're gonna
Love you,
say-
bye.
Oh, you got the code?
So I shopped during the pandemic. We could either kind of like fill in forms and complain or innovate, and so we couldn't do live theater, but we could film. So I created a musical theater web series, which is sort of fun. And ended up being a series of episodes that were curated episodes, had different themes of different, they were like almost like an MTV musical theater. And for one specific episode, it was called Showstoppers. It was a selection of songs that stopped the show. 11 o'clock numbers, opening numbers, closing numbers. We did Music in the Mirror, which shows that stopped the show because of dance. And again, just being such a fan of this show, I wanted to. I basically actually created the Showstopper episode so we could create a video of always starting over, and I built all the others around that. But always starting over, as you'll hopefully see in a few hours, does stop the show. And I just had this this vision of Kerry singing the song because not for obvious reasons, but she just has that quality. So we shot this beautiful music video, and at that point, the rights for it then were not available just for exploitation, full stop. And in many ways, organically, that music video ended up sort of, got seen by Brian and Tom, and I think got them excited about just sort of us and the way we were thinking about the piece and carrying the role of Elizabeth. And from that, it grew organically to sort of the next step of exploration, just to see how we can bring this beautiful title to the UK. As you've seen with Barney and Clyde, and as you've seen with Your Lie in April, stage concerts are these wonderful ways of introducing the British public to new work and get people excited. And also, it's a brilliant way to kind of workshop because we get to be in a room for a week or 2 weeks in our case, to really try to flush things out. And then at the end of what would be a normal workshop, you'd do a presentation, but in this case, our presentation is with full orchestra and lights and sound and a paying public, which is great because in many ways that funds the development of the show. But I mean, there's no better litmus than just sort of putting it out there and seeing how the audience reacts. And so, in many ways, this was a way to test the material, but also just not just test the material, but just to do the concert, to do an extraordinary piece. I think what's also been really a beautiful exercise for the team is that inherently it's and I think it was your father-in-law who said this, like it's a piece that requires you to sit forward and pay attention and engage, and it's not a passive piece. You have to connect with it because it's a story that is intricate and evolves, and I don't want to give too much away, but in a full production, big sets and magic and illusion and would really play into the sort of the landscape of this piece, but ultimately, what's been our task is to take a relatively complex is the wrong word, but I'm using that word, story, and essentially strip it back to essentially 6 crates, and brilliant musical staging, very nice story, and use and sort of and really go back to Brian's brilliant writing and the narrative to be able to bring a story that involves active participation to life without the help of big sets of costumes and illusion and this and that. So be really and I think in that case should this the privilege of having Future Like, we've done an unbelievable exercise to be able to kind of go to the root of the storytelling, to be able to tell the stories. That makes sense.
That makes total sense, because I was going to ask with the direction side of it, like, what would be phased? Because obviously when you take it into concert version, it's so different from out in full production.
Yeah.
Is that quite exciting? Like, was there pit, but was there things that you're like, I just want to have more time on this?
No, I think seeing watching Bill and kind of supporting what Bill was doing, he was finding this journey that is complex, and there's two parallel, there's two parallel stories, and really kind of pinpointing what makes each part of Elizabeth sticking each story was really integral to what Bill did, and Alistair with all the staging, just trying to move the story along. And again, you use the word magic, which I think is beautiful, because magic really came into it in a lot of ways. We're trying to make these transitions, and so we know as an audience what journey we're going on, who we're following, really, really clear. So for this format, you see it and you can kind of stay and be an active participant, like you said as well, into the story was really important for Bill and Alistair, I think. And kind of supporting that was quite magical, seeing that kind of journey and how it all came together. Yeah, it's just beautiful.
I know we've only got a few minutes to go, but I just want to open up to, I know you all will have questions, but we'll just take a couple of questions because I don't want to be all about us. So if anyone got anything, go for it, straight to the hand.
So the two of you who've seen it on Broadway, how do you think the reception here is depicting the West End?
I mean, they loved it there. I was in the audience and they went crazy for it. And I went with a few friends and we were just brought into the story. I thought it was one of the most beautiful pieces of work I've ever seen in my life. So I think here we have to sit with an amazing reaction.
I think the thing would be a really interesting thing is that Kerry has sung Always Starting Over. And she sang it with Tom at Crazy Cots, which is amazing, and she sang it for the music video, and she sung it here and there. This was the first time she sang it like in front of an audience, having done the 2 hours of work building up to that song. And it was the first time we saw it like properly with an audience, and it was such a discovery for everybody, but Kerry specifically, to be able to like sing that song but having for the first time done the work leading up to that song and to see the moment of pathos and payoff, and just to see the you know, I'm not trying to make it happen again tonight. Not that everyone should stand all over again, but I think we were all shocked. But Kerry was she stood there and she had no concept that this song, having done that work leading up to the moment, would elicit this like organic reaction in the audience. And she stood there, and at a certain point after 45 seconds of it, I think she kind of like broke from it because it was so emotional for her, and that was really special to notice. Somebody please ask a question from Tom all the way over.
I know someone has a question.
All over from New York.
With the female role, like the strong female, where does that, do you have inspiration? What's that kind of thought process with that?
Well, for Brian and I, we are both, we've had very strong women in our life. Brian's mother, my mom, my wife. I now have a daughter who's turning 16. And both with Next to Normal and If Then, and I also wrote a musical called Superhero. It's just something that I yearn to tell those stories. And I think also with the specificity of If Then is the fundamental question, especially as pertains to, I've seen this with my wife, being a mom and having a career. And there's been this age-old question of having it all. And Brian and I read many articles that investigated that question, and we felt like we wanted to write a musical that speaks to that and honor that question and that journey. And to go even further than that specific question, I think we all in this room can point to a moment in our life, looking back, that at the time you didn't realize the significance. And you can all map our lives out and you think, what would have happened if this little thing was different? It's not just, I went to that meeting and met the person who hired me. It's, I decided to go to that concert. I showed up at the party and met my spouse. For me, it was going to Columbia, which is where I met my wife and I met Brian, and I wasn't aspiring to write for the theater. If I hadn't been there, I don't know if I'm writing for musical theater. So that's where If Then was born for me, the investigation of the choices we make, and to really ask ourselves, would we have wound up in the same place, especially if that place is somewhere that we feel like a dream might have come true in that moment. So we do that investigation, and I just felt like I've seen that story told in film, I've read books, but I haven't seen in theater the attempt to tell parallel lives at once. And as these great artists have been talking about, what that demands in terms of stage magic, this is just a taste of it tonight, but I can already tell in the clips I've seen, they've been so inventive and creative, and I can't wait to experience it.
The big thing you mentioned, Next to Normal, it was amazing and so real, and I found so moving. Planned, I assume. Well, how's it going to go after this? You're hoping to Brian. Let's just get through tonight. I'm sure you will, but thanks to us, a wonderful whisper. I'm sure this will be too. So